I didn't realize I was depressed because I was still laughing. That was the confusing part. I could joke with my friends, answer messages, go to school, come home, and act completely normal. Nobody looked at me and thought something is seriously wrong. I didn't even think it myself. I just thought I was tired. Then I started getting tired of everything. At first, it was little things. I stopped looking forward to weekends. I stopped caring about messages. Things I normally enjoyed started feeling like chores. I'd come home, throw my backpack somewhere near my desk, lie down for 5 minutes, and wake up 2 hours later. Sometimes I'd stare at my ceiling without thinking about anything in particular. Not sad, not angry, just nothing. That scared me more than being sad ever had. Because when I was sad, at least I could understand why. This was different. One morning, I remember standing in front of my mirror getting ready, and I looked at myself and thought, I don't even recognize this person. Then I brushed my teeth and went to school. That's how it worked. I could feel completely empty at 8 in the morning and still laugh at a stupid joke at 8:30. I started becoming really good at hiding things. Someone would ask, "You okay?" I'd say, "Yeah, just tired." And because I said it confidently enough, they believed me. Eventually, I believed it too. I blamed everything: school, sleep, my phone, the weather, being bored. I had told myself I'd feel normal again when something changed. Maybe after the weekend, maybe after the holidays, maybe when life got more interesting, but nothing changed. And slowly I started changing instead. I stopped answering people as quickly, then I stopped answering at all. I'd see a message from someone I cared about and think, I'll respond later. Then hours passed, then a day. Then I felt too guilty to respond because now it was awkward. So I ignored it even longer. I knew I was pushing people away. I just didn't have the energy to stop. One of my friends eventually asked me about it. He said, did I do something? I looked at him and immediately felt guilty. No, it's not you. Then what's wrong? I shrugged. I don't know. And that was the most honest answer I had. I didn't know. I just knew I wasn't myself anymore. The weirdest thing about depression was how normal everything around me looked. People were laughing. Cars were driving past, teachers were talking. My phone was full of notifications. The world hadn't changed. But somehow I felt like I was watching it through glass. I could see everyone living. I just couldn't figure out how to join them. Eventually, I started comparing myself to everyone. I'd look at people my age and think they had everything figured out. They were confident, they had friends, they had goals, they looked happy. And then I'd look at myself and think, what's wrong with me? That question became automatic. If I couldn't get something done, I thought I was lazy. If I stayed in bed, I thought I was useless. If I didn't want to talk to anyone, I thought I was selfish. I was treating symptoms like character flaws. I didn't understand that yet. I just thought I was becoming a worse person. One night, I was sitting at my desk trying to finish something I'd been putting off. I stared at the screen for maybe 20 minutes. Nothing happened. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't even make myself care. I closed everything and put my head in my hands, and for some reason I started crying. Not dramatically, there wasn't some huge breakdown. I just sat there quietly with tears running down my face, wondering why something as simple as getting through a normal day felt so difficult. I remember whispering, "What's happening to me?" I didn't have an answer. The next day, someone noticed. They didn't give me some motivational speech. They didn't tell me to just be positive. They just asked, how long have you been feeling like this? I said, I don't know. They asked, do you want to talk about it? I almost said no. That would have been easier. Instead, I said, yeah. And once I started talking, I realized how much I'd been keeping inside. I talked about the exhaustion, the emptiness, the way I didn't enjoy things anymore, the way I kept pretending everything was fine. I expected to feel embarrassed. Instead, I felt relieved. Not fixed, just relieved. For the first time, someone else knew. That was the beginning of me taking it seriously. I started getting more support instead of trying to solve everything inside my own head. I talked to people I trusted. I started paying attention to my sleep. I forced myself outside even when staying in bed felt easier. I started doing small things again. Not because I suddenly became motivated, because I needed something to interrupt the cycle. Some days, doing something meant going for a short walk. Some days it meant cleaning my room. Some days it meant answering one message. That's it. One message. I used to think getting better meant waking up one morning and suddenly feeling happy. It wasn't like that. It was boring, slow, sometimes frustrating. I'd have a good week and then have another terrible day. I'd think, I'm back where I started. I wasn't. I just didn't understand that progress isn't always something I can feel. There were days when I was still struggling, but I was struggling differently. I was talking instead of hiding. I was asking for help instead of pretending. I was learning to stop treating every bad day like proof that I'd failed. And slowly things started coming back. Music sounded good again. I started looking forward to certain things. I laughed and actually meant it. I started making plans instead of automatically saying no. One afternoon, I caught myself walking home and realized I hadn't thought about how miserable I was for the entire walk. It sounds insignificant. To me, it wasn't, because I realized I had spent so long waiting to feel like myself again that I hadn't noticed I was already getting pieces of myself back. I still have bad days. I still get overwhelmed. I still have moments where I want to disappear from everything for a while and shut the world out, but now I know the difference between having a bad day and believing that my entire life is bad. And I know that when my own thoughts start becoming impossible to handle, I don't have to handle them completely alone. That's probably the biggest thing depression taught me. I used to think asking for help meant I wasn't strong enough to deal with my own problems. Now I think pretending I don't need help when I clearly do is much harder. I also stopped believing every thought I have, because my mind has lied to me before. It told me I was lazy when I was exhausted. It told me I was useless when I was struggling. It told me everyone was better off without me when what I actually needed was connection. A thought can feel completely real and still be wrong. I wish I'd understood that earlier. I wish I'd realized that I didn't have to wait until everything fell apart before I was allowed to say, I'm not okay. Because depression doesn't always look like crying all day. Sometimes it looks like laughing with your friends and then feeling nothing when you get home. Sometimes it looks like sleeping too much. Sometimes it looks like avoiding everyone because explaining how you feel sounds exhausting. Sometimes it looks completely normal. That's what makes it so easy to hide. And if there's one thing I know now, it's that I don't need to hate myself for struggling. I don't need to turn a difficult chapter into a definition of who I am. I'm still figuring things out. I'm still having bad days. But I don't see those days as the end anymore. They're just days. And tomorrow is still there. So if I've learned anything from that period of my life, it's this. I don't need to have my entire life figured out to keep going. Sometimes I just need to make it through today. Then tomorrow can come when it comes.